Check. Mic 1 2. Mic 1 2. Jesus don't want me for sunbeam. Sunbeams are not made like me. Don't expect me to lie. Don't expect me to cry for you. Jesus don't want me for a sunbeam. Sunbeams are not made like me. What's going on, everybody? How are we doing? I just chilling here on this bright and sunny day, and sipping a little bit of what is it called? Black tea and milk. I don't know. I needed a new leaderboard crap works, so that's fun. But guys, I got some new wheels. I'm a little bit confined and stuck in the wheelchair at the moment, and I can't really I can kind of put it forward, like this, but kind of awkward. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. I got to figure out how I'm going to do all my water changes and stuff, and they jacked up my arm. You know, the last live stream, somebody was like, "Oh, look what you've been doing. You relapse, blah blah blah." Like, really? You think I'd be that bad at it if this is something that I did daily, like 10 times a day in a vein? You think I'd screw it up that bad? Anyhow, how's everybody doing? Ben, good to see you, buddy. My buddy, old pal, my Ben. I feel like I am gonna get some muscle going in my shoulders. I've gotten way too much. I've gotten too flabby with not being able to do any sort of cardio or any of that really, other than like yoga, kind of core balancing type stuff. Also, what's going on? Well, right next to me, y'all, we have a tank. It's so disgusting. Oh, you're so lazy. Why don't you clean this tank, Alex? Well, it's because it's full of baby fish. So I took out the parent elastomas. I took out all them beautiful beauties. And right now we've got babies in here, and there's a lot. Like, every time I take a turkey baster full of water out of there, I pretty much am guaranteed that I get a couple babies from the bottom of the tank. And so I just decided, you know what, since the adults elastomas, they need to get live food multiple times a day. That's just like how they survive. It's just their thing. That I can't feed like mosquito larvae or things like that to them with the babies in there, because they're gonna get the two confused. And even if the babies hide, then I'm adding food that's bigger, and really what the food they need is like seed shrimp, ostracods, single cell organisms, tardigrades, water bears. Like, that's the stuff that we want these little guys to be eating. If you can imagine that, them eating little water bears. John Monroe, what's going on? Good to see you. Always appreciate your bizarre and funny links you send me. Cave of Wonders, what's up? House of Pisces. Honey Gyorai, can I put moss on the surface and moisturize for 2 to 3 days with no... Okay, there's a language barrier here. I'm not going to say this out loud, so hold on. Let me read this carefully. Can I put moss and surface and moisture, okay, for 2 or 3 days? No. With the root stick, can I fill up aquarium after? Can I put moss on the surface? So yeah, you can use a spray bottle, what we call the dry start method. Moss, as long as you keep the humidity over about 75 to 80%, usually will be fine. Almost all mosses. If not that, at 90 to 100%, it will completely be fine. Whether that's an aquatic moss or whether that's a terrestrial moss, it doesn't really matter. It will stay fine at that high of a level, especially if you're keeping it warm. So yeah, that is a yes. You can do that. And moss doesn't really have roots in the traditional sense. It has kind of like like a rhizome structure that basically anchors down, and it basically has these tendrils that are flat. Almost, if you look at them under the microscopes, they kind of look like gecko pads on the gecko pods, because they are there and they go out and they have all this surface area of little cracks. We should look at that sometime. Because they have all this surface area to hold on to surfaces. Like, even though it looks like it's flat, it's actually like this crazy accordion ridged looking little cellular surface. But yes, you can do that. It takes some time for those tendrils, or whatever you want to call them, anchors in rhizome plants and things, to get their bearing, their anchoring. But we can do it. The Grimster, what's up? Hello. Sketty Nona, hello. Ashley Johnson says, babies. Yeah, we got babies. Baby. Down, 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 down. Sure thing, love. Good evening, good evening. Let's see here. No knickers, Emma. Hello. Put some pants on, young thing, or old thing. I don't know how you be. Thanks for your video on gold ringed anyos. I now have 9 of them. Right on. Yeah, they are beautiful fish. When you see them put on their show for spawning, if you got a good light on them or some natural light in like the morning, you see these beautiful, like subtle, like purpley colors on the male's fins. Really. Chef's kiss of beauty. Hello. Yes, I wish I could get in a swimming pool. I can't right now. One, for the fear of new infections, because of like all my broken skin from lupus and my other issues, where I always have rashes. But 2, because of the puncture wound in the leg. And even though I could put a bag over that for just like I do for showering and whatnot, like, basically they don't want to risk that in a pool setting. Like 10 minutes in a shower is like all they want to risk. And because of my compromised immune system at the moment, I already have some sort of crazy bacteria that's in my blood, and it's I have the name of it written down somewhere, but it's basically a bacteria that is harmless to most people, and it's in fish tanks, it's on fishing boats, it's in lakes, it's on fishing gear, it's on like docks and things a lot of times. But people who are going through cancer treatment, or who have immune deficiency issues, get it, and apparently I have it at the moment. So that's what happens too when you've been on antibiotics for like 6 months straight. It's just ridiculous. Wilson Sevos, hello, and you the best. Take that. How about you the best? I probably said your name wrong, so I probably messed that up. Rolly, underwear is autocorrect. Okay, all right, yeah, I got you. No worries. Terry LaPierre, hello. Stay cool and congrats on the sunfish fry. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's hot here in Seattle. It's like 80 degrees today, which is, I mean, I'm not gonna say insane, but for Seattle, it's a toasty, tasty day. L Fish Tanks, hello. Sketty Nona, you can use thread or super glue. That's true. Yeah, to attach the moss for sure. You can use like monofilament fishing line. That works really well too. And then you can cut it when you're sick of it. No, when it's at its whatever stage it needs to reach. Let's see here. Hey, Ollie the Puffer. Good to see you. Oh, my wife's home. Oh, and she looks beautiful. Look how pretty my wifey is. And the cat. You hear the cat going, wee. Where is the cat? Kitty, where are you be? Hi, baby girl. She won't visit me in the chair. Brat. She's an ableist cat. All right, let's see here. You should do video calls so people can show you their setups and access bias. Would be amazing. Thank you for responding 5 times better than ChatGPT info. Yeah, ChatGPT can be good for like things that are kind of like they have one way to do them and that's it. other than that, like a lot of times it gives you like 5 ways of doing things, and they're all kind of like the mediocre way of like people who know a little bit on the internet. ChatGPT tells you a really good synthesis of what mediocrity is. It won't tell you a really good like professional level or even necessarily a really good beginning level. It kind of takes an average of the info and gives you a few bite-sized chunks of it, depending on what we're talking about. Unless there are like kind of a set agreed upon basic introductory outline kind of things, like how do you change a light bulb, stuff that there's like wiki how videos for, you can usually trust that. But if it's something like the easiest way to take apart a 1994 Corolla engine, it is probably going to have the technical manual info on it and step by step, which is great, and tell you what tool you need, which is cool. But it's not going to know what like Randy, the auto mechanic, knows, that is like, oh, you can use this tool instead of this tool. It'll save you a bunch of time. You can use this as a pry bar just by extending the other socket, like, so yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm glad that not everybody has just given in to Chat GPT and said, be our overlord, Chat GPT, because it's still got things it's got to work out. South Bay Sapphires, what's up, South Bay Sapphires? I like the name, South Bay Sapphires. Are you in Thailand or Malaysia or something like that? If you've got sapphires you're talking about, either that or perhaps you're in Montana. I don't know. There are not many sapphires in the world. Montana and like, what is it, Phillipsburg is one of the few places, and with El Dorado or Dorado Bar in Montana is one of the few places with very lovely pastel sapphires. If you ever get a chance, go there, folks. The Grimster. So I know beta sororities talk just bends people up, but what would be the best way to add a male to a community tank that does indeed have multiple females and they are splendid? Okay, so first of all, you need a male that is relatively peaceful. I would not attempt putting males and females together for a prolonged period of time in a small tank, unless you're spawning them and you're ready to take them out. Like, you're going to be watching for 3 or 4 hours at first, and then you're going to check back in every few hours for the first few days. Then after that, every day in the morning and at night, you're going to check on them and look for signs of their fins being torn. Now, I am somebody who may allow a little bit of aggression to show, but generally, if aggression has gotten to the point where it's damaged the fish at all, that's pretty far. And you may think, well, I've seen fish nip each other and rip at each other's fins and stuff. But actually, bettas should have a territory. So they should have a territory. Each male and female have territories too. But the thing is, the female's territorial limits are more flexible. Also, when you throw in the fact that bettas and betta splendens are a domesticated form of the fish, they are in theory more cooperative, collaborative, and peaceful as a group species. I've found that it helps immensely to have dither fish, so other little fish in the tank. Things like little rasboras or pencil fish, something that doesn't need to be in the very top water, but that will go to the top water, that will distract them, that will come and go from their area. And so that the bettas are focused on what was that came through my area. And your average male betta is going to need basically a surface area of somewhere between 6 to 12 square inches. So let me rephrase this. Somewhere around 6 inches by 6 inches would be the smaller side, and a foot by a foot or 12 inches by 12 inches would be the larger size area. And it doesn't really matter how deep that water column is, because they're either going to hang out at the bottom or the top as their space. And when they have fry, they usually want a corner. Now, I think that having bettas spawn in a community tank like that, that's a bad idea. it usually turns aggressive, even with well-tempered bettas, what I would call well-tempered bettas. And the thing is, you're just going to either lose a bunch of the babies, or you're going to lose one of the parents, or one of the other bettas that's in the tank. But if you have tanks ready on the side, ready to go for the fish so you can move them when they start making bubble nests, and you have well-mannered fish, like from what you've seen of Betta, you can tell what's a pretty easygoing fish versus which ones are flaming and flaring their fins and gills and like ruffled up all the time when they see themselves in the reflection. Are they constantly like flaming up and getting upset, or are they, are they, does it take them a while and maybe they don't even respond to their own reflection? That is a good sign in my point of view. Now, there is research that also states that the males use the color red to go to their immune health or to their vitality for reproductive displays, meaning they either use carotenoids and things like lycopene and astaxanthin and astaxanthin. They use these things for their autoimmune response normally, and a little bit of that goes towards being red, yellow, or orange. But in the case of the domesticated lines, a lot of them happened to be red selected because those were the males that were the most likely to have secured a territory. So it's not a cause and effect thing. Like, just because you have a red betta doesn't mean it's going to be more aggressive, but red bettas tend to have the gene for aggression more often because they are able in the wild, and that thus they were selected for by breeders who wanted them to be aggressive. They were selected for many, many years, hundreds of years now, to have the placotte body style and fin style, to have generally like a red color tint, and it's kind of the like red burgundy color with kind of the blue or green color with it is what you'll see in the wild-like pattern. But that's a placotte pattern that was used quite a bit for fighting, and they use them for fighting because their fins are close to the body. They have a high stamina and a healthy immune system. Plus, in their little territory, they could secure the bugs and the protein and access to the resources, and tell all the other male bettas in the area to bug off so that they could have the bugs. And so amongst these things, watching my videos on them, I think you can get enough tips, breaking up the lines of sight, introduce one at a time is one way you can do it with the males. But honestly, I've also seen people do it where they introduce, like, if you got, say, a 40-gallon tank with lots of floating plants and some tall plants and some logs and places to hide at all levels, and you got dither fish, and you've got some still water in each of the four corners, and maybe a nice filter in the center of the tank or something like that in the center of the back or side of the tank. That gives you plenty of options for like 3 or 4 males in like a 40-gallon breeder, and then you could probably have at least double that of the females, especially if they're related. If they're fry that all are growing up together in a grow out, they can stay together pretty much until you see problems that end in torn fins. Honestly, I've kept them together well past maturity. And they don't really usually show a major interest in breeding as readily as like ones that have been separated for a while and then reintroduced, or siblings or fish that aren't siblings, sorry, rather. So I hope some of that info helps. But yeah, also feeding them like live food is a good way, in my opinion, it keeps them active hunting, doing their engaged, living their life thing. And I think all those things work together to make it a successful thing. After all, they have to get together to reproduce. And at the end of the day, it's up to you. What do you want to tolerate? Now, these fish are not, they tend not to just snap and destroy another fish all the way in a day or something. There tends to be a lot of signs, if you know your bettas, of, okay, they're flaring. Okay, they're testing each other's territory and then doing the hit and run and then leaving. Okay, they're swimming around the territory, kind of strutting their stuff until the other fish starts to come out. And then they'll even do another pass around sometimes. That's very aggressive behavior in their world, right? That's like tagging their street or something, you know, that's like doing a drive-by on them. And so by the time it escalates to the wrestling, unless they are doing it for mating or kind of to show a community of bettas, look who's the strongest in some of the more communal species like Imbolus or Stictos, or Oppie bettas, which now have a new name. I'll have to learn. Then yeah, you can, you know, you can kind of manage things with those telltale signs, and it really does help. Okay, guys. Empire of Dirt, good to see you, Jeff, as always. Let's see here. Who else is in here? Sometimes I wish fish streamers would communicate and not intersect their lives. That would be something. Grimster, whose live stream is who else is wait? Who else is having a live stream too? Sunday, Monday are supposed to, in the Portland area. Yeah. Quiet news, sir. Jedediah, Alexander Jedediah, Mordecai Moonflower. I'm hoping you're well. Sending you good vibes. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I wonder who I am streaming over, because I generally stream at 4:30 or 5-ish, somewhere in there, every Tuesday and every Friday, like for years. So sometimes I'll miss one of the days, but I mean, I try to do it every week. So yeah, but you know, people are going to overlap. That's just the way it is. I have been wanting to switch up one of the times so that we can get maybe morning for Europe or Australia or Asia, you know, something like that. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions as well. And let's see here. Stephen P, good to see you, buddy. Also, yeah. Ross from Baltimore, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, I agree, Grimster. The new name for the Oppie Betta is stupid. I like the original Oppie idea based on location or whatever. So, guys, I've got a woman way over town. She's good to me. No, I wanted to show you one thing before we start off. I actually have some off. I have some offers to share with you guys, in the sense that Aquatic Arts, I've talked to them and I've said, like, I need to give stuff away to my diehard crew, to the people that I love, the people. Oh, good, Beto, you saw the cribs in your at your local fish store. Interesting. I wonder if they came from a cichlid exchange. Also, that's where these came from, the ones I got. And also Misty from Tucktown. What's up? Misty, that's an interesting name in that my mother, or my father's mother, her whole family, their last name is Tuck, from Louisiana and well, Texas, Louisiana border area. And I have a lot of Tuck family down in like Oxbow, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, a little bit in Missouri, and then really down from like really more like Texarkana, Shreveport, that kind of area, down to like Beaumont and Lumberton. Anyways, he's a breeder. But thank you so much for your, oh, it's Grimster. What's up? It's your wife's account. Well, cool. Thank you, Grimster. I appreciate it. I really do. Hey, Craig, good to see you, mate. I hope you're doing well. But what I was going to say is I've got some official Aquatic Arts stuff to say, in that they're publishing some interesting articles in their newsletters. And usually you'd have to subscribe to see all that. But I've been in contact with them and saying, like, hey, guys, I want to give some stuff away. Let's do that coming up, yada, yada. And so today I wanted to kind of think about, they said, you know what, you've earned through your referrals and stuff. Do you want to do $200 in store credit? Like if you pay the shipping, we will get you on the $200 store credit. And I was thinking like, yeah, but I want like my viewers to be excited about whatever it is I get. And so I'm trying to think like, what would we get there, right? And that makes me also come to the thought of like, well, so then if you're spending 60 or 70 on shipping, because everything is expensive these days, I think like either we got to get something that's going to breed, or it's something that's like a total showpiece fish. But they've had these deals going each week, which I wanted to tell you guys about because they're pretty incredible, and you can't get a better deal than through this channel, which is if you use the code Fishtory 15, right? You can use that code over and over, all capitals, Fishtory 15, 15, no spaces. You'll get 15% off whatever their price is. So even if there is, let me show you guys an example. Even if there is something that's on sale like this, where it used to be $69, like these, like this pack of rice fish here, instead, right now it's $59. Well, you're going to get that $59, but then you're going to get 15% off of that price as well, which is pretty wild because I mean that's already a good deal, and we're the only channel that has that deal, the only creator that has that deal. So you're always going to get the best deal if you use the code for my channel, unless I am not promoting one of their sales for like Black Friday or something. Then I'll tell you guys, like, use that code they're putting out. It's better. I'll tell you if it's better, but in this case, we really do have the best one. And what would you say the max heat for shipping fish? The Grimster max heat, I mean, that really depends on who's shipping it. Some people can ship fish out of Arizona and straight into out of Alaska and into Arizona, and in the dead of winter, and it could be 85 in Arizona and it could be -30 in Fairbanks, and they know how to do it. It's rough though. I would say anything over 90. One, never let your fish sit outside more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So have it delivered to a place with AC if you can, and never leave it in the sun if possible. And, be there if possible so that you can get them right away. Because a lot of times they'll have sat in the back of the truck. And sometimes that's a mail truck. Sometimes that's UPS. Sometimes that's FedEx. And that's why certain places, and any good place you find like Dan's Fish or Aquatic Arts, Redfish, Bluefish, a lot of these places, they'll go with either FedEx or UPS, maybe DHL if you're other places in the world and stuff like this. But they'll use a service like that that's a premium overnight service. Some of them also let you do slower, like 2-day priority through USPS or even overnight through USPS. But one, it's not a ton cheaper. It is cheaper though. And two, the loss rate is phenomenally higher than those other ways. And that's been tested over and over. I mean, you can see Corey from Aquarium Co-op talking about that. They've tested it by sending like little sensors through the mail, and time after time after time, you lose fish. And if you did a spreadsheet just about profit and money, maybe some places in the world it would break even, but definitely the fish and the ethics of sending out fish that would die 5 to 10% of the time, even if that is economically viable, it's maybe like wrong, right? So let's not do it. So that's the only thing that I would say is, just because people will ship you fish doesn't alleviate your responsibility to be there at the house or wherever, have someone home, someone to grab them off the porch if they're going to be sitting in the sun, or have a shady spot for them and have the ambient temperature below say 85. If it's say 80 degrees out and they're not in the sun at all, they're not on like a black deck or anything like that where it could get hotter and hotter, they should be fine at around 80, 85. But in the sun, you could end up cooking them at 70 degrees if they're out there, you know, and they're in a black box. Then again, if they're in a white styrofoam fish cooler box that they should be in, if there's a large order or something, then you're fine. There might even be cooling packs in there to deal with that. But I would say don't risk it. And for me, 50 to 80 is really my sweet spots for shipping. If I have confirmation that somebody is going to pick it up and be home and so on and so forth, then I'll push that to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's what I would say. So, but what I wanted to say too about Aquatic Arts that I didn't get to say was they've had some sales with rice fish. They've had blue diamond tetras. They've had ember tetras. They've had Burmese marble anchor catfish and also the Indian anchor catfish and a number of just really interesting, cool fish. Platinum green tiger barbs with the jade ones, which they're really neat looking. I'll pull these up, not just on my phone, because you know obviously that looks like crap. But my point is that this sale thing that they've been promoting is each week they've been having a new thing that's a really good deal where like you can get something and each week it's changed, but like this week it's nearites, and if you enter a code you can forego using my code and you can use, like, for instance, Fintastic15 is the code this week, or you could also put in the code bonus batik as in the pattern and get 3 free nearite snails with any order. And that's while supplies last, you know, obviously, and whatever's in stock. So things go quickly. Also, they've got purple land hermit crabs, a bunch of new shrimp and stuff. So I wanted to show you a couple things that they've got. Also, Betta Great Lakes. If you've never shipped fish before, I would recommend checking out some of the other videos that other folks have done. I've done fish shipping videos, but I'm really cranky about it. I'm not the best fish shipper. I would say if I think Redfish Bluefish channel had one for a while, but I mean definitely check out like Dan's Fish. Check out if Imperial still has theirs. Check out Lucas Brett's for plants, and if you want to send stuff through the U.S. mail, he does that, and he takes his chances, and he does pretty well with shrimp and live bears that have a wider temperature range. Granted, if you're going to do something sensitive, you know, if you're sending discus or something like that, I would go full out with it. You know, get either a heating pack or cooling pack, or a sleeve that is thermally insulated at a minimum. But there are quite a few good videos out there. I think Primetime also has done a good video. KG Tropicals, they've done a few decent videos. But Dan's Fish to me is like the gold standard. Right on, you've got 11 fry growing out right now. Cool. That's always exciting. So I love it when you got a fry, and they're in the fry later. What was I gonna tell you other than I can't get close enough to this darn screen? Okay, so let me pull up the stuff that's going on at Aquatic Arts, because you know, for a while I've been a little bit MIA with a few of my the companies I work with, right, and that I promote. I haven't really been ordering a lot of stuff for my own fish room. I haven't been breeding a whole lot. Like, I've been breeding the things that are in my fish room, really. And when I got sick this last summer, I haven't really gotten a ton of new stuff since then. It's more just kind of breeding the stuff that I already had in the fish room. And so I figured that you know, we should take a look at some of the things that have changed, because they're offering some cool stuff, and I am going to be working with them still in curating like things that I think are cool. So if you guys are like, oh, I wish they sold X, Y, or Z, let me know, and I will chat with them about the feasibility of that, you know. And Craig, thank you so much, buddy, for the gifted membership. That is very kind of you. I appreciate that, buddy. It's good to see you too. All right, so let's pull this, and whoever gets it, lucky on you, because you get some extra episodes. And I put 2 free Fishtory episodes out today, back to back, on the same deal. But those will probably be members only half the time or so. Those stay members only. Another half the time they go somewhere, or they get shown once on another channel as a feature sometimes. I liked it when we were doing that, because, you know, then it kind of spreads around the idea, but it also is a little bit of incentive for y'all to have some secret behind scenes shenanigans, right? Okay, so share screen. Johnny coming in with the 5 memberships. Holy smokes. Thank you so much, buddy. So here comes more people. 5 memberships, you guys. So come in, check out the 218 audio-based episodes of Fishtory ! The podcast version of this show. They're 5 to 10 minute audio episodes where I'm talking to the screen, and sometimes there's graphics or B-roll, but it's not really about that. It's about telling you the science, the story, and something interesting to talk about that I want to share with you guys without having to edit all the stuff and spend, you know, an extra. Say if I read about the news, a news story for an hour. I'm like, that's fascinating. I read up about related things for another 3 or 4 hours. Well, I can get that done in a day and make a 20-minute video about it and turn that around and kind of synthesize the information in a digestible and interesting way, I hope. If I don't have to edit it, if I don't have to fact check the visuals and then double check like the sound, you know, do all the you know, all the different details that end up coming into higher level editing. And then hopefully that will allow for more output in the long run of things, because there's so many things I want to talk about, but I just don't have the time or an editing team at this point in time. If I had somebody who could just edit, you know, B-roll and videos and relevant charts and graphs to what I was saying, I could easily have a video every single day for you guys. But and I've tried to keep up with that pace at different points in time, but it's just not in the cards, obviously. That's not sustainable, and then YouTube penalizes you for it. So what I want to show to you guys is the over at Aquatic Arts, they've got this bonus pack deal. So if you like these, and I like these mini neorites, because these and the thorn neorites, they don't leave those little white hard eggs on everything all the time. Now they still do have some, but it's not like the big neorites, the racers and stuff, the red racers or all the other neorites. Some of them get absolutely out of control with how many they lay. These, not so much, and they're much smaller. They'll eventually just erode off of any wood or plants or anything like that. So the other thing is, what they're doing big time at Aquatic Arts is they're bringing in these lines of everything from koi to live bears to wild live bears to so these locally bred ones. If they say locally bred, a lot of them are going to be people who are in the Aquarium club in Indianapolis. And if you live in that area around Indianapolis, get in on it. If you want to breed a pistos, or you want to breed live bears or shrimp or anything like that, that is where they're getting some of this stuff from. And, you know, they can do really interesting stuff when people are willing to work with them like that. But like right here, this at Dan's Fish, we know his are a next level, come from Aquarium, Glauser, and all that. But $8.99, this is a fish that could easily be $60 or $70. You know, with the right markings, a little bit brighter or whatnot. So this is like a line you could really work with and get something quite incredible out of. And here, I mean, you can choose a school of 3 for $20 or whatever, you know, then get 15% off that. But what I want to show you is they've got a section for fish, and you can go to AA Bread, which is Aquatic Arts Bread, And right here, you can see, like, look at this. These shrimp were $10.99. Now they're $9.89. These ones, used to the assorted Skittles shrimp. It used to be $26.99. Now it's $24.29. But then you guys get another 15% off on top of that. So you should look for anything with the green sticker on it, because that's already marked down. So if you were trying to buy something, do that. But they also still have the awesome thing, like these green emeralds. By the way, I think they have probably the best green emerald line that there is. Check this out. So you can get this breeder pack, and for $143, you get all the botanicals and food that they could need for a year. Plus, you get 10 adult females, some of which are probably going to already have eggs and be pregnant, and 5 males, I believe. That's usually the deal. Some of them, it's a different number of them. Like, that's for the Neocaridina, but if you wanted to get something like this and get the breeder pack, they don't do quite the same breeder pack because of how these breed. They're a little different. But again, these were $15.99 2 years ago. Now they're down to $8.99. Plus, then you can get more discount after that. Let's see. They go down to $6.70 if you buy 10 of them. So they're only $6.70 if you buy 10. Pretty wild, from considering where the prices have been in the past. Also, things like their tangerine tigers, only $6.79. These are now bred very hardy. So these shrimp that used to be dare I say, near impossible to breed, they're actually very, very, yeah. Hey Kenny, what's going on? Good to see you, man. No, I haven't lost a ton of weight. I've actually gained a ton of weight. It's just I'm in a stupid wheelchair, not sitting up as high, so I don't look as broad probably as when I'm sitting right up close to the thing. But I basically am supposed to be in bed with my leg up for 1 to 3 months. And I'm just not healing. I have a systemic infection still right now, and it's not giving me crazy, like I'm not having a fever or crazy illness, thankfully, and knock on wood. But that's what's happened the last 2 times when I ended up in the ICU, was feeling fine. Then all of a sudden I have a wound, or I had surgery, and the site gets a secondary infection. My blood gets infected. I'm fine for another few days. Then 106 fever in the ICU, encephalitis. And so we're trying to avoid that. And we're on some really heavy duty meds now. But I do appreciate you saying that I look okay, that I look better, I'll take that as a win, I suppose. Yeah, Betta Great Lakes. If you've never been to Aquatic Arts, they're kind of an online only place, but they do team up with clubs and things like that. And they do allow people to come by every so often. And sometimes they'll special allow people to come by and pick up, or they'll even like come out to the club meetings, and they'll have auction items and stuff that they put up. Plus they do outreach and charity work, tanks for teachers. They used to do, I don't know if they're still actively like doing it, or if it's just kind of on the DL, like when someone brings it up nowadays. I'm not really sure. But they used to, do a tank plus a $200 gift card to any teacher who wanted it. I mean, just above and beyond stuff especially for an independent little business. Also providing women's shelter with meals through the holidays. We always did a fundraiser for that, and they always provided something like 10 or 12 grand towards that. Just to be freaking awesome, not for any other reason. And they didn't even like publicize it. And not that I think that like, oh, well, you need to publicize everything. But I was like, guys, like, stand up. Like, let's encourage this community to, do more of this kind of stuff. And so that's another reason why I've always supported Aquatic Arts the way I do. Now they do have a new owner now, but I'm excited to see that he seems to be, you know, still excited about the idea of breeding in-house, breeding made in American fish, getting lines and things, sure, from overseas, but then breeding them with American workers, American hobbyists, and supplying the hobby. Of course, they've got some really cool guppy lines and stuff nowadays over there at Aquatic Arts. These black saddle ones, absolutely beautiful. Also, these red onyx neocaridina are incredible. These green bivaltis have been a part of Aquatic Arts legend, legacy, whatever you want to call it, for years and years. And I had these, and they used to not stay alive. No matter what I did, I could not keep them for more than a year. I had 3 or 4 colonies, and I have very soft water, and I just could never get them to survive. They're from, they're Babalti, so they're from like Iraq and the Nile, as well as a number of places in India as well, if I recall these particular Babaltis. But it's absolutely wild that they've made this line sustainable, in the sense that now people are keeping them reliably, and that's a really big deal, because these guys were hard to keep for a long time. It's just like neocaridina used to be very hard to keep, and now they're the easiest shrimp to keep, arguably. But they've also got these purple mosaic dragon guppies, where the females have a nice pattern too. They have the blue panda dwarf guppies. They've got the assorted fancy male guppy culls that are kind of mixes with some of the lyre tail and spade tail. They've also got these bluegrass, very pretty. They're the original bluegrass, not the blue Moscow, not the stuff that was crossed like Bentley Pasco. A lot of people want his fish, that are the Hawaiian bluegrass with the Hawaiian blue Moscow cross, that are incredible. But then they've also got the reticulata species, being the guppy. They've got this nice red lace with the yellow and the red lace. Then they've got the 24 karat ribbon, 24 karat gold ribbon with the iridescent flame color thing, where it's got the blue with the yellow or green kind of vibe. And they're also doing now more Sulawesi shrimp, and only $12.99. These used to be $19.99 just a few days ago. And now you can get them, let's see what 10 would be, 94 instead. So that's $9.40. Plus you get 15% off with me. So what would that be? I'd be like, what? That'd be like $8 a shrimp, instead of what they used to be, which was $19.99 a shrimp. So some pretty good deals going on here. Plus, they're always restocking. A lot of people complain that they do run out of stuff, and they do. There's a quick turnover here, but it's because they're breeding there now. And so they'll put 50 out, and 50 will get bought within each week. And so they try to release on different days, and they're trying always to expand. But I just wanted to show some of the highlights of what they had going on right now. Moonlight Aquatics is still another great spot to get really affordable fish too, if you're ever looking at Aquatic Arts and you don't see what you need. And of course, Dan's Fish is available, but I save Dan's Fish in a special regard, where I say, that is like level of breeding for profit, or breeding specimens that are completely unique. Whereas these are kind of more community fish and bread and butter fish that are still, in my opinion, of a high enough quality that they're worthwhile to buy. Like, look at these calico sun-kissed shrimp. They're out at the moment, but I have wanted these so bad since I saw them. And Aquatic Arts has them. Aquatic Arts and Moonlight Aquatics. Moonlight Aquatics, their code is just Fishtory 10, Fishtory 10, if you want to utilize that code for Moonlight Aquatics, which is a different company, obviously. But for Aquatic Arts, Fishtory 15, all these codes are always in the description of my videos, so you don't have to worry or hunt too hard. You just go to the little more ... tab, and you should find them. But yeah, these shrimp are Neocaridina, and they don't even look like Caridina that are out there. They look like a whole new thing. I mean, look at that. Oh, I want them. And now they're like I said, they're coming out. Let's see if Moonlight. So this one is another Seattle-based shop. Friend is the owner. This was the first guy to get the blueberry snails into the country, into the U.S. And then he got the orange variety of them, or the peach variety also. He still got those in. The other thing he's got right now is loaches beyond beloach and belief. Look at these incredible gastromyzon. These are like the Bloody Mary. These are like the incredible Lepogaster, or the Myers Eye, or the Fang Eye. Really cool. Here's the Bloody Mary ones that are they get super red all over their body when they're spawning mode, but otherwise they've got these cool markings with the red. He's also got the polka dot ones with the blue tail. He's also got the polka dot ones with a red tail. I mean, look up the species name when it's listed there. If it's not listed, look up this numbered part. But like, look, he's also bringing in some stuff like $179 brand new CW111 wild-caught Hoplosoma Vulcan Cories. These are an incredible fish, and I couldn't afford that, but I mean, holy smokes, I wish I could, right? So when you look over at Moonlight, he's got really, really affordable prices too. So like Tiger Batis, $8.99, Blacktail, Kohaku Koi Live Bear Swordtails, they're only $6.99 a piece. His shrimp, $3.99 each. But as you can see, there is a difference in quality. Aquatic Arts, I think, definitely has him beat on shrimp quality for Neocaridina. However, in Caridina, this is only $7.99 for blue bolt shrimp of this grade. I mean, that's pretty wild. It's of any grade to get them down to that in America these days, because it's gotten expensive. Now, I said there were loaches. There's lots of loaches. Also, there's things like the Bosemani Corridora. Isn't this little guy cute? He gets stuff that no one else gets, and species that are not really in the hobby even yet. Things like new collection point rainbow fish. He's got the Ave Creek. He's also got the Bosemani Ayatinho or Ayatinjo. I don't know how you say it, if it's a J or an O. But then, he's also got these Kali Awalim rainbow fish that are Chilatharena. Some of these interesting ones that are not usually found very often, and they're usually very affordable. His blue flame paradise fish, these guys can live outside most of the year, live down to like 45 or 50 degrees and up to like 85, maybe even 90, depending on the fish. I mean, absolutely cool fish. They're fun to breed. I got videos on doing that if you're interested. Of course, they're a lot of fun. But one thing I'm always on his case about is, oh wow, look at this. The Brochus pantanalensis, only $34. That is wild, in that these were $120 when they were sexable and older. They are incredibly beautiful, these little fish. They come and they get a golden shimmer on them. But yeah, I mean, beyond all that, like, look at these. He's got these Chinese neon golden striped sharks. Not the best pictures a lot of times, but if you take this species, look it up, and like go to Moonlight Aquatics, look up whatever it is he's selling, and then you'll see like what it actually looks like and the picture he used. And sometimes you're like, why did he use that picture? These fish are incredible. These are like one of Dan's dream fish, you know, with this crimson and the yellow. And so I don't know. Sometimes he just shows you the picture of what he got, how he got it, which I do appreciate that being a transparent procedure for us buyers. But I mean, sometimes you want to see, well, okay, why is this fish worth $24 or whatever? You know, what's going on here? What's going on with these fish in my life? Um, and then let's see here. What else we got? We got $11.99 for the orange cories. I mean, he's got gold lasers for $8.99, $11.99 for the CW10 golden lasers. And then, you know, his deals are great. But look at this. Here's those Dumbo Moon half mosaic guppies, $29. So you just got to go different places and use different codes to get better deals. He's also got a bunch of rice fish right now over at Moonlight Aquatics. So use the code Alex, or rather, sorry guys, not Alex. Use that at Dan's Fish. But if you want to use the code over there, they've got these cool rabbit snails. Some are white, some are yellow, some are like a golden cream color. They've got Ivancara bimaculata, which is pretty neat. They've got these koi red ear guppies. So, I mean, they've got all sorts of stuff, plus all these plecos. Green phantoms, $39.99. Blue phantoms, $39.99. Sultan plecos, $54. L333 Tiger Bellamonte or Montebello from the dam region that is going to probably no longer have wild fish coming from it much longer, sadly. You know, just really good prices all around. Hard to find like gobies and things. $39.99 for the Lentip Dimetrodon, which Dimetrodon, I had a couple of those, really like them. They're over in I should say I have a couple of those. They're kind of, they hide a little bit, but they're in my not the, I guess the newest aquascape tank in the living room, the long one with lots of plants. Also, he's got these Milky Way wood cats too. I think he's feeding them enough bloodworms. Jeez. Very interesting though, weird little gobies that he's bringing in. And some of these are from China, and probably due to the way that things went with tariffs and stuff, there's a good chance that some of these one-off Chinese species may not be ever brought in again until, you know, who knows when, till a further date, TBD, right? But I mean, he's also got these Dario Hiskinen, which are the melon ones, not the Myanmar ones. Red lip gobies, Mickey Mouse platies, only $6.99. So I get such a kick out of what he's always working with. These red tail hillstream loaches, the SKO2s, they're an incredible looking fish with the zebra swirly patterns. Love them. And of course, he's got some cool Epistos. He's got lots of Stiphodon. Now, these the Peluensis. These are from the island of Palawan, I think. And then he's got more of the Stiphodon. Also, tricolor lame rice fish. These are beautiful. These are really, really nice. And if you can get those breeding, they're worth at least 10 to 20 bucks, depending on where you're at. Also, you know, green, red, albino, all sorts of jade color, all sorts of interesting little guys. Also, watermelon tetras, which are rare ones. Same with the raccoon tetras. They're only $11.99. Like out of the this world, crazy pricing. Now, Aquatic Arts, and I'm checking in comments in just a minute. I know I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned you guys. The code, yeah, shipping is insane in America right now. I know it is. I totally get that. You need to buy like a couple $100 worth, or get a couple friends who want to buy stuff to make it worthwhile, in my opinion. But the code for Aquatic Arts, which I'll call AA, is simply Fishtory 15, and the code for Moonlight Aquatics.com is Fishtory 10, and you'll get 10% off that one, 15% off Aquatic Arts. Or you could also do Dan's Fish if you're feeling really dansfish.com. First time, I think you'll get 10%, if not 5% for sure. It depends on how much you buy, I think, the first time. And then after that, it's a small percentage, but helps the channel out, and I appreciate it. And if nothing else, it doesn't harm you at all or anything. It just, helps towards credit for the channel, so we can show off weird and wacky fish. Because, of course, I tell you everything I buy, and show it off. dansfish.com is just the code Alex, though. That's it. You can spell it ALEX or with, however you want. But that's that. So that's how you do that. Pretty straightforward. Johnny Best, holy smokes, we got a super sticker. It's out of this world yet again. Johnny, happy Johnny, you make me happy, sir. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. I really do. And I don't know how to thank you ever. But know that you are appreciated, and we here at the community, you keep our lights on and our fish gulping for air, relaxed in the relaxed gulp. Garage Gills, what's up? Good to see you. Also, where is everybody tonight? I feel like, is it just nice weather and everyone's just like, I'm gonna go jet skiing? Is everybody out jet skiing? Is that what's really going on? I think everybody's out jet skiing. That would be my guess. If I had to guess, it would be everyone's out jet skiing. So yeah. Anyhow, what would you guys like to see in the near future on this channel during these live streams? Of course, I was gonna do the $200 buy it plan. Like, I was gonna go through and shop for whatever I was gonna order today, but given the wheelchair stuff, I probably shouldn't order fish, is the problem. That was the plan until literally, like, I found out that the wheelchair, that my parents found it, and it got approved today. Like, that I could, long story short, it didn't get approved through insurance. I had to buy it out of pocket, but we found a used one for $85, which was a really good deal, which is cheaper than it would have been through insurance, which is hilarious. But yeah. Yeah, it's very warm out. I know. If people are on the West Coast, they know it's a hot one today, ladies and jelly spoons. Ladles and jelly spoons. Ladles and jelly spoons. The other thing that I'm curious about is if your tanks are too small for bristlenose, get a cool autocinkless or an anchor catfish. They're awesome. Maybe more of your cool water bugs outside. I should get back under the microscope soon. We will do that soon, I think. But I was gonna say, literally today, I see cyanobacteria forming back center. You can probably barely see it, but it's forming right there. And there's some green cyanobacteria barely forming there. That's because there's no filtration really in here, and The same thing that you may say, oh, that's a gross tank. What a gross tank. All the algae and cyanobacteria. Well, it's the same thing that allows these little fish that are thriving in here. The fact that the elastomas have had at least 2 or 3 dozen fry that I'm assuming. I've seen at least 15 that I've counted when I just used the turkey baster, sucked them all up, put them all into a container over here, and then held them up to the light. I was able to see that 15 were trapped in that container just from one go through, and that was not combing through the plants. So I have a feeling now that we moved the parents, you can see the live food living right at the top of the water there. That's like perfect singular size cell life form food. Some bigger than others, but the little babies are so small that it's very hard to get even this camera to focus on them. And so I'm kind of trying to like play with the glass as a lens to see like if we can get it to look bigger. But so far, I'm striking out, folks. Dave Clifton, hey Alex, I netted a 2-inch log perch this week and put it in a 10-gallon alone. It's a really cool fish. Those are very cool fish. I think it will soon outgrow that 10-gallon, but that is a cool fish, whatever you end up doing with it. So here, there's fry on this rock. There's a fry, literally, let's see, can I point to it? Right, my pinky's over it right now. Right, wait, over it now. Right below my pinky. And I'm going to block it out in a sec. There, blocked out, it's visible. Blocked out, visible. Blocked out, visible. But that little line there with the little eyes, that's a fish. They're so tiny, the fry from the elastoma. That does not surprise me at all. But I've only had them reproduce in tanks as colony breeders. So basically, I only would see them when they're kind of like a sea monkey size or eyelash size. And now I'm seeing them before that. And cat, what are you doing? She's going to her catio. She's got a netted, screened off area outside that we built her. I got her, and she loves it. It's her best friend. You know, whatever. Come on, focus. Blah blah blah. Yeah, same size as rainbow shiner fry. Totally. Did you see audio fish? I see you did audio on fish migration. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, if you like audio-based episodes, I'm trying to get back to doing some of those, or at least maybe every few weeks, putting a couple out. And we'll see how they do. Right now, they do terrible. They're crushing my channel. They make all my other videos do worse, and they make anything new I put out do worse. That being said, I don't care if you guys enjoy them. Those of you who are active here as members on the channel, if you like them, and I'm seeing that in the feedback, if only 200 or 300 or whatever people watch, but it's you guys that are active, I don't care. You guys deserve it, and I'll keep making them. If I don't see that as a continuing trend, then maybe I'll do something else. But also, we need to get back to the kind of a little fluffier videos again. We've been on kind of a serious bent for a while. So we'll probably do a top 10 list coming up here pretty soon, or a top 5 or top 20 or top 25 or a million 25, whatever. Catio made me. What's up? Fishtory, any tips with doing water changes with destroying bubble nests? So what I usually do is I usually grab a bowl, like a big tin bowl, like from that I make cookies with or something, like a 3-gallon bowl, and I carefully slide it underneath if I can. If it's a bigger tank, I will do that. The other thing I've used is a dustpan, and I'll use a dustpan and I'll carefully put a dustpan under it and then just keeping that surface tension and not sloshing it around. So just gently kind of tilt it even and then a little back, and then, you know, at ever so slight of an angle, you can then kind of just lower it back into water somewhere else, and that should maintain the surface tension. That works. Sometimes you can use things like you can use things like pipettes, like a few pipettes, like 3 pipettes. You can kind of fan them out, or even popsicle sticks or something, like something wooden or grass, even like a whisk of some sort. But, you know, basically you're trying to just not break the surface tension if you can transfer it. Even allowing, though, a bubble nest to transfer, even if the bubbles kind of deflate, the fish find it better, as long as it's their nest, to work with a bubble nest that they've started than to start all over again, because they use their mucus and they use glands in the corner of their mouth, in their mouth, and on the outside, and they mix it together almost like a bondo, or, you know, an epoxy, and then that comes together and it makes this oily like substance that then allows those bubbles or you know, protein films and slime coats to form, so that they can make a nice little above water home for your babies. Let's see here. Dennis Engel says, my baby grow out elastomas. Baby grow outs are having babies. Okay, that's what, F2 or 3 then? I'm a little lost there, Dennis. That's some generations though. Congrats in any case. Fishtory, I recently picked up a pair of Aphosimian colesta. These are a pair of Aphosimian kikimense or menzi in order to breed them. I don't know enough about killifish. I wish I did. Maybe Pyle does, Mark Pyle, or somebody over like in the killifish library or killifish clubs might know something about that. But I don't. I'm sorry. I do want to know more about killifish and to get more into some of the annual killifish. I've never really done that beyond just bare minimum type stuff like blue galaris and you know, 2 aphosimians, maybe like a panchax, like pink chin and orange chin that I had, the annulatus, you know, stuff like that. Would baby fry live in those tiny white bugs in the aquarium? Live off? Yes. So those are called seed shrimp or ostrocods, like ostrich and then cod. And they are little tiny. They look like little Pac-Man kind of, and they're great for baby fish. Those nematodes like vinegar eels, trematodes also single cell organisms, any sort of diatomaceous algae or plankton, cyanobacteria, normal bacteria, fungi, all that stuff is, you know, algae is great for a lot of these little fish. Just Bros, what is up, Just Bros? I hope you're doing well. Wicked freaking aquatic, what up? Does a piece of driftwood weigh the same as water once it sinks and is saturated? No, it's more. If it weighed the same as water, it would be neutrally buoyant, and you could like kind of just float it wherever. And there is a point where most wood becomes neutrally buoyant. However, most wood gets heavier than that, and then it is the weight of the lignin, the carbon, all the, you know, cellulose and stuff that doesn't come out. And then that eventually decays, organically decays back down into, you know, gases, like literally CO2 or carbon in the water and CO2 in the water, which is a gas. And that's why when organic things break down, they actually make the water more acidic, is because they form things like nitric acid, carbonic acid, humic acid, you know, uric acid. All these different acids are formed by biological stuff breaking down. Johnny Aufux is great, especially if you throw in some infusoria. Yeah, totally. Aufwuchs are those biological live layers in aquaria. So they're, when you look close, they've got all sorts of stuff going on. So you can see all these little bubbles. There's no filtration in this tank. It's a low, like the water's low right now. This tank here, though, is producing a lot of photosynthetic activity in the sand. And that's because I've used a natural local silt from a river, and it has such fine grains of sand, and you know, the surface tension between them is such that it can actually have algae that then pearls and oxygenates this little tank, which has oxygen by no other way. I can see another little fish right here. If you guys can hear, I'll point at it. This is the biggest one I've seen by far. Let's see here. Can I point to it? So it's going to be, you'll see it right off, right here. It's a little line, right? You see it, guys, there? Its head, right above the nook of my pinky fingernail. So we'll zoom in. Oh, come on. Let's see. Can we get in at it on this way? I'll get some still pictures. It's right under that leaf. You can see its head is on the leaf, and it's kind of hugging the leaf there. Anyways, they're smaller by far than the mosquito larvae that I was feeding the adult fish. And yet now it looks like they're not quite big enough to eat the Daphnia or the ostrocods and infusoria that you see up top here. So, you know, the other nice thing is when you look at a scene like this, look at what's in there. So I know there's isopods in here, in the sense that I went and put some in here, but I also know that there are Gomeris acellus, and there are Gomeris pullix and Acellus aquaticus, and a number of other little critters, and that when those are present, they do very well, and they create a nice little ecosystem that is not eutrophic or heading to bad places. This may get algae in it, may need water changes, it may gather some nitrate and some organic debris. However, you know, a few water changes should alleviate a lot of that, and then instilling maybe some shrimp or some little critter to manage debris, mulm, organic debris will really help also. Green water will help feed fry, though. Used it for my rainbow shiners. That is correct. Just bros, what up? Ginger snapped. Uh-oh, she snapped. Ginger snapped. My electric blue cars have been breeding, but at night my bristlenose plecos eat all the eggs. Free fish food. That's a rough one. At least acaras and, like, you know, cribs, acaras, there's a number of fish that if you had to have the babies eaten, like, those are ones that are gonna just turn around and make more, which is great, right? Madame Lacrimosa, what's going on? I'm curious, is there a specific benefit to having the water level super low like this? You know, there is not one benefit per se. What it is it's a very similar ecosystem. Oh, I know, baby girl. It's a very similar ecosystem to the one that you find these fish actually in, which is like 1 inch to 3 inches of water flooded out on a marsh or a wetlands, like it's a leafy forest with maybe some eriocalin and some kind of sword plant looking stuff, and then a lot of leaf litter from like some palm trees, some pine trees, just kind of like scattered hills and then cypress and stuff. What are you doing, you little silly goober? Love you. I love you. I know. I know. I'm so mean to you. I'm so mean to you. You're so mean to this little kitty. But no, there's not a huge benefit other than I can feed the baby fish in a smaller volume of water. And it'll grow algae in green water with a smaller lamp a lot quicker. But no, I mean, it's really just, I could fill it up all the way, but then I just have more water and more space for the food of these fish to get away from those fish. But right now they can kind of hunt in the shallow water and trap stuff around plants or stones or whatever. Meow, 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 meow. What would be good next tank mate in a 3-gallon, 3 rosy reds, 2 autosynchronous, 1 ghost shrimp? Ooh, let's take a look at that one more time. Addy Color 04, baby, come on. I would say 6-gallon, 3 rosy red, 2 autosynchronous, 1 ghost shrimp. I would say you could get something like an anchor catfish, maybe. They're very small; they only get like an inch. You could get scarlet batis. You could get a couple scarlet batis or a pair of them, even if you lucked out. You could also do something like Sundadanios in a 6-gallon like that. You could do a school of maybe 9 of them, and you'd probably be fine as long as it's planted and you've got a filter. Let's see. You could also add some nearite. Oh, somebody else said that too. There we go. Yeah, you could add some nearite snails. Like 1 nearite would help eat like hard detritus. Also, if you added some colorful Amano shrimp, they may mess with your ghost shrimp, but they probably will be interesting. And now there's yellow ones, there's orange ones. Aquatic Arts has some crazy ones for like $6.99. They're really fun to watch. So I would say you could do any of that. But the other thing you could do is something real interesting. Like you could do with a 6-gallon, if it's a 6-gallon long, if it's a long tank that's not super deep and not super wide, so more of like a bookshelf tank, you could do something like gold ring Danios or Daniel Chopras, or in any sort of small rasbora, chili rasbora. You could also suppose do maybe some sort of little pseudomcgill if you've got room, if it's a long tank like a bookshelf 6. So yeah. Dave Clifton, Alex, that dry humor of a log perch blowing out a 10-gallon caught me off guard since they only get about 7 inches. Yep. Yes. Yeah, no, they don't get very big. And you get people who whine and complain and whatever. It's like some fish need more room. Others can live on a treadmill in a get them a power head, and all of a sudden you see what they need. If they're colored up, if they're having babies, if they're living their life, they're fine. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. But you guys, I am gonna have to get out of here. I'll try to maybe stream again because I want to have a guest on the show soon. I'd like to have another ichthyologist soon, and another historian soon, and an archaeologist soon, and maybe someone like Adam Ragusia if he wants to come on, because he's working on something and he texted me about it today and was like, "Hey, what should I do about algae at this stage in my tank?" And he was so kind to hook me up with new editing equipment and a camera, and so I've been using it, guys. And yeah, any updates on shipping isopods? So not in the sense that I haven't figured out any little container to send them in yet that's like better than just little baggies, and I don't have the exact price worked out. But for you, I just owe you some because of how supportive you are to the channel, buddy. Like, I can just send you some if you message me one-on-one. I can get to you later tonight or tomorrow, and we can do that. But also, I know you wanted some plants, so I should do a post again about that because I think they're in their peak for this ecosystem, they're peaking right now. Like I'm seeing babies and I'm seeing juveniles that are very tiny, but I'm also seeing mid-sized juveniles in the isopod world. And you want to catch the females when they still have the cyst or the egg sac stage, because they will have like another 20 babies almost assuredly. And so each of those that I can get, then hopefully will go on at your place to have that many babies. So I really do appreciate y'all. And oh, moving around, rice fish fry. That's awesome. I need to get some rice fish fry again, Asha. I don't have any, like I've got wild rice fish at the moment and a couple odds and ends that are from years past in tanks, but I don't have any cool domestic strains at the moment, and I wish I did. So there's that. Well, I'm gonna end on a happy note, which is, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Oh, I'm not gonna sing that. That was bad. That was out of tune there. But I who sings that? There's a version of that song by a million people, but the good one is by a Cuban American singer, and I'm trying to remember his name. That was like kind of like a folk and swing crossover guy. Hold on, I gotta figure it out. If I had a hammer, Pierre Paul and Mary, the famous trio that did it, but Pete Seeger did the song originally. Lee Hayes did it, and it was written in support of unions or something along those lines, and therefore it got banned in 1956. Is it 1957? And then the Weavers covered it. 56. Yeah, and then Pete Guthrie and Arlo Guthrie have covered it. Trini Lopez, that's a good one. That might be the one I was thinking of. But if I had a hammer, yeah, Trini Lopez, I think that's the one. Should we find out if we can get our live stream demonetized? Let's go ahead and do that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Did it just kill it? Oh no. What a dirty communist, right? Right, you guys? Can't believe our youth were exposed to this filth in the 50s. This song has been in a lot of things. Brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Need the cowbell, guys. Ooh, ooh. If I had a bell. Oh, he's got a bell, you guys. Rock it out. Boy, in 54, 56, this song was radical stuff. They were taking over. McCarthy showed them, though. They'll never work again in this city. Oh, wait, then the hippie thing happened. The brothers and the sisters all over this land. Ooh, ooh. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning. He has a song, guys. It's this song. All over this land. Also, the writer of This Land Is Your Land. I sing out warning. I sing about the love between my brothers and my sisters. All over this land. All right, you guys. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Now that you've been radicalized, now that you're going to go out and join a union and riot or whatever it is they thought people were going to do. Have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna, if I had a wheelchair, I wouldn't have to walk. And now I can be lazy and maybe get some upper body strength, and I won't look like a 50-year-old lesbian. No offense to them, but that's what I look like after no working out for years and years. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'll see you next time all over this land. I'll see you next time. I'm